gone mad for the holidays. What with Christmas and New Year's tomorrow. Happy everything. And let's start with Mad Women of the West. Sandra Singh Lowe's Mad Women of the West is the brunch from hell, and we are all invited to enjoy watching four veteran actors have the time of their lives in their misery. Carolyn Aaron greets us and immediately breaks the fourth wall, telling anecdotes about the actors' temple, where they are putting on the play before settling into her character of Marilyn in California and joining the others. Marilyn and Jules have gotten together to throw a surprise birthday party for their depressed friend Claudia. They all went to college together, and this is also a mini reunion for them. A fourth friend, Zoe, will be joining them later. She has made a boatload of money promoting wellness. Secrets are revealed, veneers are cracked, but friendships endure as we crack up and tear up over these fierce women played by Caroline Aaron, Brooke Adams, Marilu Henner, and Melanie Mayron. And I give this a happy face exclamation point.
The York is presenting the Jerusalem Syndrome, book and lyrics by Lawrence Holtzman and Felicia Needleman, and music by Carl Rosen, directed by Don Stevenson. And it's based on a true psychiatric condition where people, tourists going to the Holy Land, become convinced that they are biblical characters. In this show, there's a woman named Phyllis whose husband just neglects her because he spends all his time on his cell phone. And she thinks she's Sarah because Sarah has a loving husband and will eventually have a child. There's also a gay man whose father was very religious and he felt his father loved Jesus more than him. He becomes Jesus and kind of learns to be much more charitable to religious belief. It's an interesting premise. And I like the idea that the characters, when they become these biblical people, sort of solve some of the problems of their real life. But it became way too silly for me a lot of the times. And I didn't feel that any of the songs were really distinguished. But we were lucky to have an understudy, Pablo Francisco Torres, who to me was the most terrific one in the show. He was playing an actor who is a TV soap opera star in the Holy Land to prepare for playing Abraham on a TV miniseries. And he had a wonderful duet with Sarah.
We should say Farrah Alvin, she's a powerhouse singer. She's like, she always brings down the house whenever she's staying at those Scott Siegel concerts.
Oh, yeah, she was very good, but I was just amazed by how wonderful this understudy was.
In this cast, you've got John Jellison, Karen Murphy, Lenny Wolpe, and Alan Green as Jesus. I mean, they were all so wonderful, and I thought that the choreography by Alex Sanchez was so exciting, and I thought the music was just so invigorating. I'm like you. I mean, I did not. I saw this 15 years ago at the New York Festival. So I mean, and I remember when I saw it like 15 years ago, thinking somebody has to pick this up. It was that good, and so I was so happy to see it done properly, finally, directed by Don Stevenson, we should say. And it was so, I loved it. It was not silly because, especially with what's going on right now in Israel, it's like you forget how important Israel is to people of the Old Testament and the New Testament. I mean, they had to cancel Christmas this year in Bethlehem. It's terrible what's going on. And these people, and that's just it. It provides escapism for people from their worries, their woes, that what's going on in their real life is so terrible, and it helps them in improving their lives, because when they finally do snap out of it, you know, they have a happy life waiting for them. So I mean, I found this moving and wonderful and funny, and just I really got into this, and I just loved it from beginning to end.
For me, it was mediocre with a really good cast. So
Well,
I gave it mixed spaces plus.
and I'm giving it a happy face plus. I was scheduled to see Lone Star, but because of something or other, they had to cancel the run, so I never got to see it. I tried to see another show, and that got canceled because of illness. So luckily, I ended up at theaters for the New City, where I got to see Mikhail Yashinsky's The Gospel According to Chaim. It's a fascinating true story of a Jew who firmly believes in the New Testament and wants to convert other Jews to his beliefs. In 1940 Baltimore, a poor Yiddish printer is worried about his mother in Poland. He's been having trouble getting customers lately. So when Chaim walks in with chocolate and glad tidings, he befriends Gabe before he tells him his purpose there. They are interrupted by Gabe's friend Sadie, who needs flyers printed to get people's attention for a demonstration to get the Baltimore Sun to let people know about the horrors that are happening in Europe. They all speak English. There are English subtitles. They all seem to be on the same page until we learn what Chaim is after. He gets Gabe to agree to print his book for quite a deal of money before Gabe knows the details. To Gabe's horror, it is to print a Yiddish version of the New Testament, the same Goyisha who are throwing eggs at his shop and killing his people in Europe. Will Gabe keep his word and print this book, or will he not print this heinous book that has been used as an excuse to kill Jews through the ages? It made me think of Jews for Jesus that used to prey on people in Union Square back in the day. I found them obnoxious. How can you call yourself a Jew and then try to convert us to Christianity? It's like the Inquisition or the end of Merchant of Venice. Mikhail Yashinsky has written a thought provoking play exploring this dichotomy with a true event, and the cast was wonderful. Joshua Horowitz's Gabe was this trusty mensch who just wanted to make money to get his mother out of Europe. Mikhail Yashinsky's Chaim confuses him with his reasonable arguments on how Jesus is a Jewish rabbi teaching people and will be their savior and protect them from the evils of the world. Melissa Schweitz's Sadie isn't fooled by Chaim and has her own reasons for finding him a betrayer of the Jewish people. Gospel, according to Chaim, may convert you to other ways of thinking. Happy face.
An extraordinary new musical on Broadway is How to Dance in Ohio, book and lyrics by Rebecca Greer Melochik and music by Jacob Yandora, based on Alexandra Shiva's documentary film, How to Dance in Ohio. It concerns 7 young, like maybe college age people who are living with autism and are in a group therapy. And the amazing thing is the performers who do an outstanding job are also all living with autism. And it's really about their how they face the challenge of a spring formal dance that was pushed on them by the group leader, and it does explore the problems that they have. It's a little bit too easy for them to overcome them, but I think that's kind of heartwarming in itself. I usually really don't like sentimental, musicals or sentimental plays, but it was just so easy to feel for these characters and to want them to succeed. And I thought the music was quite wonderful. So, and choreography, performances, I gave this a happy face.
I was like thinking, God, is Mark going to like this? Is my kind of show. I was just like, spellbound from the very beginning, and they're all making their Broadway debuts. The story behind the story and the story. Everything about this is just, it puts you in the Christmas spirit right now. It was just perfect. And with everything going on in the world, it was just like, just Oh, like a Steve Hartman story. And this was directed by Sammy Canal, and the choreography was Maite Natalio. I don't remember the actor with the character, so I'll just say what the characters did and then go through the cast. One of them had a boyfriend. She was like so excited because she had a boyfriend, but this boyfriend was a real pill. And then there's other, and then some people in the group liked other people in the group, but they were too shy to say anything about it, and the other person liked somebody else. So you have all that wonderful sort of teen, you're in love with the wrong person, and sort of Chekhovian romance thing going on. And this I think Drew was the main character. I mean, he was, they were all very charismatic. And then this one girl, she's with her father, and he's trying so hard to get her to, launch her into the world, but all she cares about are facts. That's what she holds on to. That's what keeps her from, facts. And so he kind of woos her with facts. And it's just, oh, I absolutely love this so much. And the actors were um, Desmond Louis, Amelia Faye, Madison Kopek, Liam Pierce, Imani Russell, Connor Tagg, Ashley Wool, Haven Burton, uh, Delicia Kearney, Marina Pires, Carlos Encinas, Nick Gaswith, Melina Colomas, Christina Sastra, and Cesar Zamoya played the doctor, who is we know is a really good singer and actor and everything. So I mean, I thought this was wonderful. How to Dance in Ohio had me dancing in New York.
Yeah, it's such a unique thing to see on Broadway, dealing with the the problems and the triumphs of autism that I don't think was ever done in this way before for such a large public.
But I like what they point out, like, it's like it's all, you're kind of falling into that trap. It's like, you're not giving them their due. It's like, you're sort of, you're focusing more on the autism than these people. These are the people. These are human beings. Treat us like human beings. It's like an anyone with any problem. It's like, don't think of their problem. Think of them as human beings. And they go after the doctor on that. It's like, how, because he makes a mistake in the documentary, and it comes across like he's like this wonderful guy, and he realized he completely missed the mark, and he realized that he messed up.
Yeah, and also what I found really amazing is how I think I had bigger problems dealing with social situations and, like understanding other people than they do. So it's however they really put in so much effort and grew a lot through the experience.
And do you have anything to add, Benjamin? Because he saw it, on his own.
It felt similar to like the prom to me, being of a similar age demographic and people working their way towards a dance. That being said, I was expecting bigger numbers. I don't find any of the music to be that memorable. I found the show, yeah, a little lacking in that way, but the performances were great, as we said. It was really incredible to see performers on the spectrum be front and center. I liked Cesar Samoya's portrayal of Dr. Amigo, and knowing that these were all real individuals, as this is grounded in a true story, made the show all the more uplifting.
I give this a happy face plus.
I give it a happy face.
I give it a happy face minus.
The whole spectrum.
At Irish Repertory Theatre, they have Brian Friel's translations directed by Doug Hughes. It's set in 1833 in Ireland at this local school where the Irish speakers are learning Greek and Latin classics. the son of the teacher, Manis, is in love with and planning to marry one of the beautiful students, Myra. But when English officers come to town to map the place and change the place names, she's smitten with the officer and he's smitten with her. And that kind of ruins everything. I thought it was a really wonderful play about how important language is in sort of dominating a culture and changing it.
Yeah, and the thing is, obviously, is Ireland, they rely upon the potatoes, and apparently, they're every year they're worried about the sweet smell. The sweet smell means that the potato crop is ruined. So they panic every year, apparently, about this, but it's always okay until we know what happens in the future. So Myra might be going to America, which also might put a kibosh on Manis's, romance with her. And his brother Hugh comes to town with the soldiers because he's helping them out. So it's almost like he's betraying his people because he's really getting into changing these Irish names and finding English names for them. He's become so anglicized and the poor school teacher, and everyone drinks and, like because it's Ireland. And they're just really good characters done by wonderful actors, directed brilliantly by Douglas Hughes. Doug, who I think was his father, Bernard, was in the original translations, if I remember correctly. But anyway, it's really Irish Rep just does a wonderful job as always. I give it a happy face.
Absolutely.
This is Sasha Clarke's review. At Paper Mill Playhouse, they're doing Fiddler on the Roof, the book by Joseph Stein, music by Jerry Bach, lyrics by Sheldon Harnick. In Anatevka, the Jewish residents live alongside their Russian neighbors in relative harmony with some only minor disputes. The Jewish citizens tolerate the many insults sent their way in order to keep things peaceful. How long can this tentative truce exist realistically? Tradition sets the scene of how important traditions are followed and adhered to. Tevye has 5 daughters to marry off. Yent has found the perfect catch for the eldest Seidel, but she loves Mottel, the poor tailor. Meanwhile, Hodel falls for Perchik, a visiting student with radical ideas. How far will she go for love of him? When the favorite of Tevye, Chava, falls for someone unsuitable, how far will Tevye go to break with the traditions? This production sets, lights, and costumes provided ample texture to the proceedings. The choreography was wonderful. The many women in the show stood out to me, especially Jill Abramovich as Goldie, Tevye's long-suffering wife. The program had a lovely tribute to Sheldon Harnick, who passed away a few months ago last June. All in all, this classic show is a perfect treat for families during the holidays. Be aware that with the recent turmoil, there is extra security at the theater, so give yourself time to get there and enjoy the surroundings before the show. This production does not disappoint. Happy face. Rachel Bloom's Death, Let Me Do My Show starts out with a crazy, naughty song that you'd expect from the creator of Crazy Ex-Girlfriend, but a lot has changed since that show closed. She got married, had a kid, worked on a show with Adam Schlesinger before COVID hit, and what that did to her, all these life changes, and how she reacted. This is a serious show, but with comic undertones.
I found the show to be a really authentic reflection by Rachel Bloom. It's her on stage for an hour and a half. The show did not drag. And during that time, she's thinking through loss. She's coming off of the loss of her friend and collaborator, Adam Schlesinger. And she has a kid. So now she's entering this new world of fearing the worst could happen at any point to her child. So as Eva mentioned, there are a few musical numbers. They're funny. They're familiar from what you would expect from Crazy Ex-Girlfriend. I don't know what else I could say. It's a heavy topic when you're talking about death, and it can really be a turnoff and make many uncomfortable, but she did it well. She did it with some laughs, and she was able to seamlessly shift between moods. And I think her content fit the Orpheum Theater well. It's an intimate space. You felt really up close and personal with her. So I give it a happy face.
Oh, yes, absolutely. I give it a happy face too, because It's funny because when I heard the death, let me do my shot, I thought, oh, I wonder if she's going to talk about Adam Schlesinger, because it was like, John Kander losing Fred Ebb, because he was a major part of her life and collaboration. And I was just, it was so shocking when he did die of COVID. So I'm glad that, this show was like a tribute to him almost, which I just found this show, like I said, funny, moving, and really she dealt with it beautifully. So I'm, like I said, giving this a happy face too. Michael John LaCusa's The Garden of Anuncia has Anuncia looking back on her life as a young girl raised by her single mom, aunt, and grandmother after being deserted by her father when she was 6. They live in Peron-led Argentina in 1940, where anyone can be jailed on suspicion of being a spy. Anuncia escapes the hardships through ballet, eventually becoming a choreographer and Broadway director of renown. That's like Graciela Danielle, who has directed and co-choreographed this show with Alex Sanchez, who just did a great job with Jerusalem Syndrome. This has the most phenomenal cast of Enrique Acevedo, Andrea Burns. I saw Francisca Munoz instead of Eden Espinoza. Priscilla Lopez, Kelly Sessions, Mary Testa, and Kaylin West as young Anuncia, who is a brilliant ballet person. So I am going to tell you that this will take your breath away. Happy Face Plus. Here's the interview I got with Mark Russell at our class press conference, which is going to be at more on our next show, January 13th. It's going on at BAM as part of Under the Radar. And here's Mark to tell us about Under the Radar that's back. Hello, here we are with
Mark Russell.
And you're bringing back Under the Radar at BAM.
Yes, I'm bringing it back to the city. And it's very, very exciting. Actually, we didn't go away. We're the festival that did not go away.
Which we're very grateful for. And I just saw a rehearsal for art class. You're bringing in art class as one of the offerings. Tell us about art class and how you found it.
Well, I've been a fan of yours a long time. Been interested, and we were talking about another piece when I was still at the Public, of bringing that piece in. And so things ran around and at almost the last minute. We didn't get to make this decision until like the end of October. We were able to bring them in and make them a part of the festival, which is really great, and I'm really happy. I think he's one of the most exciting directors working today.
I agree.
And I think the New York has seen bits of it, but they really need to discover him, and they will.
Yay! And what else is Under the Radar bringing us?
Oh my God, we have like 18 shows at 13 different venues. We are bringing Hamlet Toilet, for instance, to Japan Society, and Cliff Cardinal's As You Like It, which is one of the stranger As You Like It's you'll see. John Jarbo's Rose, or You Are Who You Eat, which is kind of a solo show with a rock band with great songs, and that's at La Mama. All these places, and there's a bunch of stuff at Lincoln Center also. Queens of Sheba, Inua Elams, and the Pan Pan Theater are all up there at Lincoln Center, which is really a treat to be working with them.
And what about that Manuel, the sort of shadow puppety thing that you had a couple times? I can't remember the name of the...
Manuel Cinema.
Yeah, that's it.
They're not in this year. I think they've graduated to much bigger things.
So, see, it's a great launching pad for other things.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. I could say that Manuel Cinema, which was very popular with our audience, got many invitations after they were seen at Under the Radar. And that's one of the things we do. It's mostly for the audience of New York, but also there's a sort of a professional audience that comes from around the world to see what the U.S. is up to. And that's what we're doing here.
So Under the Radar becomes Over the Radar.
Or Over the Rainbow, one or the other.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
This is Mark Savitt and my truncated review of Bedlam's Tom Stoppard's Arcadia, where we observe 2 different time periods on the British aristocratic Froome family estate. In 1809, the grounds were being redone in the picturesque romantic manner with the Hermitage. 13-year-old Thomasina, a mathematical genius, is being tutored by Septimus Hodge, who was a college classmate of Lord Byron. In the contemporary section, scholars are trying to find evidence to substantiate their theories about the past involving Byron and a duel and who lived in the Hermitage. It is a fascinating play about how much we can know about the past. We see what really happened in 1809 that the present-day scholars misinterpret. Mark gives us an unhappy face plus. The plus is for Caroline Grogan, who plays Thomasina. Eric Tucker's inventive direction usually works here, but it is abysmal when he makes us change seats by sitting on the stage while the past and present characters inhabit the audience seats. Throwing objects around is in a distracting manner. The focus was all wrong, turning this into a sex farce instead of what scholarly pursuits can do to a person's psyche. So I'm giving this an unhappy face too, because this is my favorite Stoppard play and it was just a travesty. At the New Victory, Cambodian circus arts with fair circus, white gold, which is the Cambodian name for rice, which figures prominently in all the acts. It opens with a drawing of yantra made from rice on the stage floor. These are the most gracefully balletic, athletic acts with most of the circus acts, like those wobbly tubes they stand on, Russian bar, teeterboard, juggling, Diablo, but literally with a twist, as most times human beings act as springboards, making this very suspenseful and dangerous, but the spotters were very observant. This was pure artistry and shouldn't be missed. Open mouth, major happy face. Since our next show is January 13th and these shows are closing beforehand, you'll find the reviews on the Facebook page. Emergence, closing January 7th at Pershing Square's Signature Center. Dracula, a comedy of terror, is closing January 7th at World Stages. Just Tom's Less Lonely, closing January 6th at Greenwich House Theater. And Under the Radar is going on from January 5th to the 21st. And go see our class so that you can enjoy the press conference next show.